It all started on a Tuesday. I remember because I was tired from a long day, but it was the good kind of tired, the kind you get from building something real. I walked into our house and everything looked perfect, just like my wife always wanted it to be. Her expensive purse was on the counter next to a receipt for a spa day that cost more than my first car. I didn't mind. I like seeing her enjoy the things my hard work provided. It felt like my way of loving her. She was talking about her friend's fancy vacation, her voice having that hint of wanting more, like she was already expecting me to plan a better one. I dropped my keys in the bowl and smiled. I told her maybe we could look into a trip soon, but I just had to get through the next big project at work. That is when the air in the room changed. It got cold. She started talking about how I was always working, about how I was never present, about how our life was passing us by. I was confused. I thought this was our life. The nice house, the new cars, the security. It was all for us. I made my big mistake then. I tried to explain that to her. I said, "Honey, I am doing all this for us, for our future together." Those words just hung in the air. I saw the look in her eyes change. It was like a mask fell off. All the pretend worry was gone, replaced by something cold and hard and full of contempt. The fight got louder. She listed every little thing I had ever done wrong. I got defensive. I started listing things back. I talked about the house, the money, the security, the fact she never had to worry about a bill. I thought I was proving my love. I was just giving her the ammunition she needed. She suddenly stopped yelling. A scary calm came over her face. She looked at me not with anger, but with a pity that felt worse than any shout. "You think I married you for love?" she asked. The question hit me in the stomach. I could not breathe. I just stood there, stupid. She let the silence sit there, enjoying it. "You were never the great love of my life. You were the safe, stable backup plan." The world did not explode. It just tilted, and everything I knew slid off into a new, horrible place. My mind started racing, putting all the pieces together. The way she said yes to my proposal so fast. How she never cared about the hard parts of building my business, only the money it made. The way she saw my early struggles as just a nuisance. It all made a terrible, awful sense. I was not her husband. I was a utility. A reliable, boring, safe utility. The man who built a company from nothing was now just a contingency plan. I did not say a word. I could not. I turned around, walked out of our perfect kitchen, out the front door, and got into my car. I drove for hours, feeling numb. The city lights looked the same, but they were not. The foundation of my whole life was gone. The main relationship of my adult life was a lie, a business deal I did not know I had signed. I thought about my stepbrother. He was the only real thing. He was the one who helped me move into my first terrible office. He lent me money when no bank would, no questions asked, no contract signed. He did it because he believed in me. The difference between his real support and the fake transaction of my marriage was so brutal it hurt my chest. I did not go home that night. I got a room in a cheap hotel near the airport. The room was silent and empty. I sat on the bed and heard her words over and over. The backup plan. The numbness started to fade, and a cold, clear plan started to form in my head. The pain was still there, a raw wound, but it was turning into something harder. I would not fight her with tears or yelling. That was a game. I would fight her with the one thing she truly cared about. Cold, hard logic. If our marriage was a transaction, then I was about to change the terms. By me. When the sun came up, I picked up my phone. I did not call my wife. I found my stepbrother's number. I did not call him yet. He would hear the hurt in my voice. Instead, I looked up the number for my lawyer. I had a meeting to schedule. The most important fights are not loud. They are quiet, and they are won with signatures on clean, legal paper. I went back home the next morning. The house was quiet. My wife was still in bed, or maybe she was pretending to be asleep. I moved around like a ghost. I took a shower, got dressed, and made 1 cup of coffee. I did not make one for her. That small thing felt like a big statement. When she came downstairs, she was dressed for yoga, her face showing mild annoyance. "You did not come home," she said, not with worry, but with an accusation. I took a slow drink of coffee. "I needed to think," I said, my voice flat. I saw a flicker of confusion in her eyes. She was used to me trying to fix things. My calm distance was confusing her, and that was good. "Well," she said, turning to a fancy coffee machine, "I hope you are done thinking. We have that party next Friday. You need to be there." And just like that, she was back to managing her social life. It was all a show, and now I could see the strings. I went to work, but my mind was not on business. It was on my assets and who would get them. I called my lawyer from my office with the door closed. "I need to change everything," I told him. "My will, my life insurance, my investment accounts, everything." There was a pause on the phone. "Is everything okay? This is a big change." "My marriage is over," I said, the words feeling empty. "I just need my things to go to the right person." We met that afternoon. In his nice office, I explained it all. I did not cry. I did not get mad. I was like a boss explaining a company change. I told him about the fight. I told him what she said. She said our relationship was a transaction. I said, "I am just agreeing with her." My lawyer nodded. A wife has rights. She could fight this in court. She would have a strong case to get a share. I was ready for that. I understand. But I want her name off of every single paper. I want everything I own to go to my stepbrother. My lawyer leaned back. "That is very direct. A judge will want to know why you are cutting out your wife for your brother." This was my key move. "I want you to write another paper. A letter of intent. It is not for the judge. It is for my brother and for anyone who needs to know why I did this. In that letter, I want you to write down exactly what she said to me. You were the safe, stable backup plan. I want people to know this was not a crazy decision. It was an answer to a betrayal." My lawyer said it was a smart idea. It would not stop a court fight, but it would make that fight messy and public and painful for her. It was my shield. For the next 2 weeks, I lived 2 lives. I went to dinners with my wife. I smiled at her friends. I listened to her talk about new furniture. I was a ghost in my own home, and she was too busy with herself to notice the man she lived with was gone. She bought a super expensive purse. She charged a fancy weekend trip for us. I paid the bill without a word. Every crazy purchase just showed me I was doing the right thing. The hardest talk was with my stepbrother. We went to our usual bar. He knew something was wrong right away. "You look terrible," he said, his face full of real worry. "What is going on?" I took a deep breath. "My wife and I are done. It is over in every way that matters." He started to say he was sorry, but I stopped him. "Do not be. I am not. But I am changing my will. I am leaving everything to you." His face went white. "What? No. I do not want your money. What about your wife? What is happening?" "I cannot explain it all now," I said, which was mostly true. "But I need you to trust me. I need to know that what I built goes to someone who cares about me, not my money. Someone who was there when I had nothing. That is you." He looked at me for a long time, his worry for me bigger than his shock. "Are you okay?" he asked, and the simple, honest care in that question almost broke me. It was everything my marriage was not. "I will be," I said, and I meant it. A few days later, the papers were ready. I signed them all. The new will, the updates for my bank accounts, the papers for the houses. The pen felt heavy, but my name was firm. Every time I signed my name, it was a quiet, final act that sealed a fate. That night, I came home with a thick envelope holding the new will. My wife was on the phone, laughing, barely looking at me. I walked to the safe in my study, hidden behind a painting. I spun the dial, heard the click, and opened the heavy door. I moved the insurance papers aside. Then, I put the new will right at the front, in a clear folder. I did not hide it in a secret spot. I left it right where a curious, entitled person would find it. I had set my trap. I had taken back my life and my future from the person who saw me as just a plan B. The papers were signed, my brother was protected, and my wife's own words were now the weapon that would defend my choices. For the first time in weeks, I felt a sense of calm, like the storm had finally passed. But as I closed the safe, I knew deep down that a person who had just lost everything they cared about would not just disappear quietly. The trap was set, but I had to wonder, what would she do when she finally stumbled into it? A lie can only survive if the truth stays hidden. I did not hide the truth. I just made it easy for my wife to find it. The days after I put the new will in the safe were strange. I went to work and came home, but I was always watching, waiting. I was like a hunter waiting for an animal to step into a trap I had left right out in the open. Our fake marriage became a quiet, tense game. I started to see small changes in how my wife acted. She began making my favorite foods, which she had not done in years. She would ask about my day and pretend to listen for a minute before her eyes would wander away. It all felt like an act, like she was testing a new way to get the old, quiet me to come back. I realized then that her backup plan comment was not just a one-time cruel thing. It was a way to control me. She thought that by showing me she did not really love me, she could make me try harder, make me desperate to win a love that was never real. But my calmness and my distance were confusing her. She did not know what to do with this new version of me. The quiet in our house got heavier, filled with things we were not saying. I would catch her looking at me from across the room with a confused little frown. One night I was on the phone with my stepbrother and I laughed, a real, deep laugh that I had not felt in that house for a long time. Her head snapped up from her magazine and she stared at me like I had grown a second head. The sound of my genuine happiness was a threat to her. I saw her look at the safe more than once. A quick, nervous glance whenever she walked past my study door. The seed was planted in her mind. The money and safety she always took for granted was starting to feel shaky, and her way of dealing with that was to try to take control back. The pressure built over the next week. She became more demanding about little things, pushing at the edges to see what I would do. Finally, one morning, I heard her on the phone in the kitchen. Her voice was bright and fake. "Yes, I just need to get the insurance information from the safe for the car dealer. I will call you right back." My heart did not race. It just got slow and cold and steady. This was the moment. I was in my home office, pretending to work on my computer. I heard her footsteps come to the study, stop, and then I heard the Qley, metal sound of the safe dial being spun. My fingers stopped moving on the keyboard. I listened. The heavy door swung open. There was a sound of paper moving. She was probably looking for the insurance folder, the one she said she needed. Then, there was nothing. A long, deep, total silence. I could see it perfectly in my mind. Her hand reaching into the safe. Her eyes seeing the new, clean cover of a last will and testament. Her name missing from the front. The sound of paper rustling as she pulled it out and flipped through the pages, searching for her name, her money, her future. The silence went on and on. It was the sound of a whole world falling apart. I kept staring at my blank computer screen, not moving a muscle. I heard the safe door close. It was not slammed shut. It was closed with a soft, heavy, final sound. Then, footsteps. They were slow and shaky, like someone walking in a dark room. They came towards my study door. I did not look up. I kept my eyes on the screen, waiting. The door opened. I finally lifted my head. She was standing there, the will shaking in her hand. Her face was white as a sheet, all the blood gone. Her mouth was open a little, but no words came out. The paper in her hand was not just a will anymore. It was my declaration of a war she never knew was coming. The moment I got my revenge was not loud or dramatic. It was a quiet, chilling piece of watching a tower of blocks fall down without a sound. She stood in the doorway, holding the will out with a trembling hand like it was a poisonous snake. "What is this?" she whispered, her voice thin and weak, all its usual bossy confidence gone. I did not stand up. I did not raise my voice. I leaned back in my chair, put my fingers together, and looked right at her. The fear in her eyes was something I could almost touch. I took a slow, careful breath. I did not answer her question. Instead, I started to talk. My voice was calm and even, like I was explaining something simple to a child. I reminded her of our big fight. I said her own words back to her. Exactly. You think I married you for love? I said, and I watched her flinch. You were just a safe, stable backup plan. I let each word sit in the air between us, watching as the pure horror spread across her face. She tried to speak, but I kept going. You said our relationship was a business deal, I stated flatly. You were the boss, and I was the thing you owned. The plan B. Well, the thing you owned decided it was time to change the deal. I paused to let that sink in. I have left everything I own, my company, the houses, the money, every single bit of it to my stepbrother. This was the punch that really hurt. I saw it hit her. Her eyes got huge with total, utter shock. By picking my stepbrother, I showed her she meant nothing. I did not give it to charity to look good. I did not leave her a little to be nice. I gave it all to someone she always thought was unimportant. It proved she had no special spot in my life, my heart, or my future. She was useless to me now. Her reaction happened in steps, just like I thought it would. First, she could not believe it. You cannot do this, she yelled, her voice getting a little stronger from her anger. This is a mistake. You are just being mean. Then came the real anger, hot and wild. I will fight this. I will take you to court. I am your wife. I have rights. This was when I showed her my best move. I stayed perfectly calm. You can try, I said. But my lawyer wrote a letter of intent. It is a paper that explains, in very clear words, why I did this. It has your exact words in it. It says that our marriage was, by your own admission, a fake. You can fight me in court, but that paper will make the fight long, dirty, public, and you will probably lose. Everyone will know what you said. Your reputation will be ruined. The anger on her face broke apart, shattering into a million pieces of pure, simple terror. The money and safety she always counted on were gone. The backup plan had not just failed. It had fought back. The truth of her situation crashed down on her. The chance of being poor, the loss of her fancy friends, the complete humiliation. This dawning horror, the silent, wide-eyed panic, was my win. It was quiet, it was total, and it was over. She stared at me, her face a mess of shock and fear and a scary, new kind of thinking. The will fell from her hand, floating down to the floor like a dead leaf. She did not pick it up. She did not say another word. She took one step back, then another, then she turned and walked away, her footsteps sounding down the hall. I sat in the sudden quiet of my study. The taste of winning was like ashes in my mouth. I had won this fight. I had taken back my life and my work. But as I heard the front door open and then slam shut, a cold feeling settled over me. The bigger war was not finished. An animal that is trapped is the most dangerous kind, and I had just made my wife a person with nothing left to lose. She was gone and the house was silent, but the quiet felt heavy, like the air before a hurricane. I had my victory, but the question now was what kind of storm her desperation would bring.